can't do business with Hitler. We are now at war. There are but two alternatives, total victory or total defeat. There can be no such thing as a military stalemate that would result in the survival of Hitlerism. That is the opinion of a man who knows. Douglas Miller, for 15 years, commercial attaché to the American Embassy in Berlin. Presenting a radio series entitled, You Can't Do Business with Hitler. Episode 12, Money Talk with a German Accent.
Douglas Miller speaking. Despite the recent anti-Axis hemispheric defense conference in Rio de Janeiro, the Nazi threat to Latin America is still an active menace to the safety of this hemisphere. Not only do Nazi agents operate in this area, but the German population of Latin America, of which there are 3.5 million, form a strong economic bloc. These Germans are not mere traveling salesmen. They own the local drugstore, the haberdashery, the restaurants, and when knit into an active group by the Nazis, they wield enormous power in the form of economic pressure. Of all his weapons, Hitler has used the economic weapon to the greatest advantage. Here's how this method has been made to work in Latin America. Brazil, a place of vast distance, few railroads, few roads. Naturally, in Brazil, as in other South American countries, airplane travel is the most important means of communication. Until recently, German airlines completely dominated the continent. And like giant spiders, the Nazis wove a tight web of crisscrossed air lanes over our helpless neighbors to the south. By doing favors for high government officials, the Nazis gained permission to charter certain airlines utilized mainly for fifth-column work.
You like the trip, Senor Poetti? Si, senor. Very enjoyable, senor. Very. You know, senor, it is not often I have been in an airplane. That is good. The man who practically controls air travel in Brazil, and it is not often he has been in the air. Well, senor, it is the truth. Your family, I understand they live in Fortaleza, an out-of-the-way place. Have you never wished there was an airport there so you could visit home more frequently? Fortaleza? Senor. Who would bother with an airport there? Perhaps you wonder why I arranged this flight for you, Senor Poetti. It was to show you the beauties of Fortaleza from the air.
A wonder. Muy hermoso. Muchas gracias, senor.
I thought you would like it. Moreover, as a favor to you, we are thinking of extending our airlines to Fortaleza. Well, Senor Poetti did us well by granting extension of our service, Herr Gerling?
Yeah.
Yesterday's was the 35th round trip between Fortaleza on the coast and Teresina inland. 10 passengers each trip. That's 350 more Germans we have smuggled in from Germany to carry on the work of the party.
What happens when they get to Teresina?
They disappear.
Hungry?
Naturally not. They work in the town. They do good work.
What they do?
Only the Gestapo, my dear Gerling. Only the Gestapo.
If this story seems far-fetched to you, if you need proof, read the amazing article entitled Rings for the Trojan Horse, printed in the January 1941 issue of the authoritative magazine Foreign Affairs. Another aspect of Hitler's attempt to tie up the Latin American economy is reflected in the fantastic business deals the Nazis offer South American businessmen. The Nazis do this for two reasons. First, to bring the South American businessman into close, intimate contact with Nazism, even attempting to force him to join and contribute to Nazi fifth-column activity. Second, to buy up and store all the strategic materials the Nazis can get their hands on, preventing American purchase. How does this Nazi program work out in actual practice? Listen.
Senor Sebastian.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Gottfried Schwab, member of the German Trade Commission at your service.
And what is your business, Senor Schramm?
You are the owner of several mica mines, Nein?
You already know that. Now come to the point.
The German embassy has been watching your activities with great interest. We believe you are in a position to make a small contribution to the German labor front in Ecuador. Say 100,000 pesos.
To the German Labor Front. Absurd. I'm not the organization. I'm a loyal citizen of Ecuador and know Nazi.
This is purely business. In return for the contribution, the German Trade Commission is prepared to purchase all the mica produced by your mine for the next 5 years.
All the mica produced here for the next 5 years? Oh, the American and English blockade.
I know, but we are placing this order for delivery after the war. We will build warehouses and store the mica until such time as we can take delivery.
But we have no way.
But what? The mica is sold, Nein. What does it matter when delivery is made?
The Americans have a saying. I smell a fish.
The Americans are suspicious people. We are offering you a perfectly legitimate proposition.
I regret, Senor, to have to refuse.
Senor Sebastian, let me tell you a little story. A sad little story. In Berlin, we have something we call a blacklist. This list is given to the Gestapo. After we win the war, the Gestapo intends to pay visits to people whose names are on the list. You have heard of the Gestapo.
Senor, we of Ecuador are renowned for our manners. But I'm losing mine. Now leave these things to...
I am only telling you a story, pointing out that it is an easy thing to be a friend of the Reich, Herr Sebastian. Granting me preposterous, if we do not win the war, nothing will happen to you. The Americans have a good neighbor policy. But when Germany wins, the Gestapo has a long memory.
Good day, Senor.
Wait. You'd like to be alive, Herr Sebastian?
Michael or murder? I see.
I can wait an hour.
You will wait more than an hour.
I think not. The deal will be closed in an hour, because, Senor, you will discover that the Gestapo are the world's greatest salesmen. You agree with me, yeah?
Need proof? Here's a source you can get your hands on at any library. John Gunther's authoritative book, Inside Latin America. Read for yourself the story of Nazi coercion in Latin America. The Nazis used their economic power in many other ways. They used the buying power of the 3.5 million Germans in Latin America as a weight over the heads of Latin American businessmen. And because so many Latin American Germans are in business, they form an effective and powerful lobby. For example, in Brazil.
Hello? Senor de Oro speaking.
You are Senor de Oro, the publisher?
Yes, who is this?
My name is Schulz, Heinrich Schulz.
Well?
I have noticed that your paper does not carry news from the Transocean News Service. Why is that?
Senor, we get our German news from more reliable sources.
Lies.
I beg your pardon.
I said lies. Those other thoughts.
I happen to
Now,
know that...
Senor de Oro, who could possibly know more about Germany than Transocean, since it is the official German news service? It won't cost you 1 peso.
You mean the official German propaganda service, don't you?
Now, Senor de Oro, you are unreasonable. Perhaps you don't understand me. You see, I represent the German businessmen of this city who advertise in your paper. I believe these businessmen contribute 90% of your advertising revenue.
You mean that unless I carry Transocean news, the German businessmen will withdraw their advertising? Is that it?
Don't put words in my mouth, Senor de Oro. Of course, Germans would prefer to advertise in a paper that prints the truth about the Third Reich. Do I make myself clear, Senor de Oro?
Yes. I'm afraid you do.
Aha, good. A representative of Transocean will be in to see you this afternoon, Senor de Oro. Dankeschön.
Skeptical? Need proof? Then get hold of a copy of the New York Times for June 27, 1940, and read this story and others like it for yourself. Since the war broke out, the Nazis haven't been able to slip any of their ships through the blockade. So, to maintain their economic prestige in South America and convince South Americans of this invincibility, they have resorted to all kinds of fantastic dodges. Here's their latest trick.
Ah, Herr Gomez. Good, I've been expecting you.
Buenas tardes, Senor Cruz. It is a remarkable proposition you made me over the telephone. You brought these goods right through the blockade, eh?
Correct. Right under the eyes of the stupid Americans, Herr Gomez. You appreciate that, yeah?
But I thought you Germans were short of raw materials. I read in the papers that...
Capitalistic lie. Here they are, Senor Gomez. Beautiful, aren't they, huh?
I hope they play as well as the last shipment I bought from you.
How can they help but play like the others? They were made in the same factory. It is well known that German radios are superior to any in the world.
Very well. I will take the whole shipment at the price you quoted over the phone. Send me the bill.
You can find your way out all right.
But of course, I still don't see how you managed to get through the blockade. Wait till I tell this to Juan. And be patient. They won't believe it.
Good day, Herr Gomez.
Buenos dias, senor.
Wait. Yeah? Yes, you are calling me, Herr Cruz? Yeah, come here immediately. I have something for you to do.
What is it, Herr Cruz?
I want you to change the labels on those radios.
Radios? What radios?
They are Dummkopf.
Oh, him. They weren't here this morning.
No, they won't be here tonight. Now hurry, change the labels.
Yes.
You will find Made in Germany labels on the door. Remove the old labels and put these in instead.
Yeah, but I do not understand. If the Reich is making radios...
The Reich is not making radios. But it is well for the South Americans to think they are.
Oh.
It is also well for them to think that we bring them through the blockade. It glorifies the Reich.
But if they did not come from the Reich...
Dummkopf, we bought them from the importing houses. Read the labels on the radios.
Yeah.
Well, what do they say?
It says made in the USA.
Made in the USA. A good joke, yeah?
Incredible as it may seem, this is exactly what the Nazis are stooping to in Latin America. And even more fantastic, they are getting away with it. If you still need proof, a copy of the New York Times, dated June 30th, 1940, will convince you. But the best evidence of all lies in the words of Adolf Hitler.
We shall create a new Germany in South America. It calls for a capable master. With the treasures of their soil, Germany will be rich and great. We shall create a new Germany there. We shall find everything we need.
You can...
You have been listening to episode 12 in a series entitled You Can't Do Business with Hitler. This series is based upon the experiences and observations of Douglas Miller, who was for 15 years commercial attaché to the American Embassy in Berlin. If you would like a copy of this script, send us a postcard. Address it Radio Section, OEM, Washington, D.C. I'll repeat that address, Radio Section, OEM, Washington, D.C. Listen for the 13th program in this series, which is entitled Work or Die. This transcribed program, written by Elwood Hoffman and directed by Frank Telford, was brought to you by the radio section of the Office for Emergency Management in Washington.